Welcome back. Generational wealth is something many of us aspire to financially, but how do you navigate it? Ren Akamine, a VP and branch banking market manager for Central Pacific Bank, joins us now with a roadmap to help us out. Aloha and good morning, Ren. Thank you so much for joining us.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
So generational wealth, right? Very important to many people, something a lot of us aspire to. How do you do that, passing it down to assets and children? How important is that?
Well, I think it's really important to establish some type of generational wealth. It allows people to have opportunities they don't usually have, whether it's education, home ownership, or business opportunities. A lot of it is due to planning, though. So what we need to do is make sure that we have an idea of what things need to be done to get us to the next step.
Yeah, planning's so important. We're going to get a little bit more into that. Nobody likes to talk about death, right? But it is a fact of life. All of us will encounter it at some point. Why is it important to talk about stuff like this before an unexpected tragedy or just, the inevitability of life? That's what happens.
Correct. So death is something that, it happens and there's no way of stopping it. So what we need to do is make sure that we're planning. A lot of times what we see is people come into the bank and they don't have a plan, whether it's listing beneficiaries or a trust. This makes it very difficult, right? For example, someone walks in, they might have dealt with it 1 or 2 times in their lifetime. Bankers are kind of like doctors for finances. We see it on a daily basis, and we can help you navigate those tough times.
Talking to loved ones can be difficult, right, about these financial aspects. How do we do that? How do we talk to loved ones about difficult financial situations?
It's a really good question. So a lot of times in Hawaii culture, we don't normally bring up these type of difficult conversations. Friends and families, they think it's, you're being a little bit too nosy if you ask those things. But if we have clear communication on what's going on or what the plan is, that can definitely help. So for us, a lot of it is making sure that you have a trust or some type of beneficiaries involved, but making sure we communicate that. Make sure the trustees know beneficiaries are someone that you really love, just so when something does happen, there's a plan in place.
Speaking of trust, what are the differences between a last living will and a trust?
Okay, so there's 2 things. So for the wills usually still involve probate and hold property, heirlooms, jewelry, cars, things like that. As for a trust, it usually holds an estate. So with that, it could be personal property, actual real estate, and all financial accounts. But as for the trust, it's very important to make sure we add the trust onto those accounts. If we don't have it listed, then that trust is pretty much worthless on there.
What are the most common types of trusts, and what are some of the differences between them?
Okay, so there's 3 common types. So the first one would be the revocable. That one allows the grantors or the owners of the trust to make adjustments still. The second is irrevocable. Those ones are more concrete in the sense that the decisions that are made have to be set on there. The third one is charitable. Those ones are used to pass wealth on in terms of giving it to a nonprofit, church, or organizations.
When you're establishing a trust, what are some of the pros and cons of doing so?
Okay, so there's a lot of pros for trust. A lot of it is, we have a concrete understanding of what should be done, who you want to have access to, who's going to be the controllers. Also, it allows people to plan for the future in terms of generational. It also can help with avoiding certain types of probate and help for tax purposes. A couple of the cons is the initial startup fees, right? A lot of it can be expensive, especially when you're working with an attorney. And also, too, it's only as good as the trustee's execution or management. If you have mismanaged funds, it'll make it very difficult. The final run would be if you forget to place it on your account. If you spend all this money to create a trust and you never visit the bank to update it, the toughest part is when the trustees walk in after a serious event and they don't have access because it wasn't listed properly.
Yeah, imagine a lot of viewers at home are thinking, I should have done this before. But now's a good time to start, right? Like, it's never too late to start this process.
Correct. And it's always best to get ahead of the ball, right? And you never know what happens, freak accidents, people get sick. And the longer you wait, the tougher it gets. The more loopholes you have to go through, the more information you have to capture.
All right, speaking of information, thank you so much for giving us all this information today, Ren. Really appreciate you stopping by with us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Aloha.